What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today on my show, I have my really good friend, Brandon Cooper. I feel like I say that all the time, but with me and Brandon, we've got a really close relationship. Brandon is an amazing producer as well as an amazing songwriter. And Brandon has also started a new project called Worm Shepard. You should really check out some of his music. And he also has an EP up. Brandon Cooper, and the EP is called Broken Chapters. Check that stuff out, man. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And today, on the line, I got my good friend, Brandon. What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. So I'm super excited. Me and Brandon have been friends for about a year and a half. And when I was...
More than that.
Well, okay, 2 years. All right, so let's be technical, bitch. But Brandon has not only been like a super good friend, he's been a great motivator and stuff like that. So this is really exciting for me to have someone I admire and someone I look up to on this show today. Love you, big man.
Thanks. I love you too. All
right, man. So we're going to get started. You already know where I'm about to hit you with 5 top records or 5 bands.
This is a tough one, and I was not prepared for this.
Legitimately.
I give you my all-time favorite band of all time. Nothing will ever come above them. Is Hatebreed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anyone says. That's my number one, and that's what it will always be.
I don't blame you on that one. I know they got some rippers. That new song is definitely a ripper. It's only 2 minutes, but holy shit, they packed some stuff into those hard. 2 minutes. Yeah.
Let's see. Fit for an Autopsy.
Knew that was coming.
Yep. Tell you, you're killing me with this question. A record that I really love and that has changed my way of writing in a way. It's by the band For Today, and the album is called Wake.
Okay.
It's super dynamic record, and I love everything about it. I could listen to it front to back all day, every day.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love Korn.
And nothing wrong with that. I've been listening to some Korn lately. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah,
they're just so different, but I connect with it.
No, I totally agree with that. But just thinking about like some of those first 4 albums were pretty monumental, and then Issues, Untouchables, those were good records. Things kind of started to slide down, but after those few records. But for the most part, I totally get where you're coming from. The heaviness, the uniqueness of Jonathan Davis's sound, and as well as like, it's a Korn song when you hear Fieldley's bass. It's insane. It's so infectious.
Yes, absolutely,
for sure. So we got 2 bands, we got a record. And we got another band, so we need one more to top this whole Jamamama off.
There's so many that are running through my head right now. If I had to say another one, I would probably go with Metallica.
Okay.
Because they're like the first band that I was introduced to. My mom had like all their cassette tapes and stuff, and being me as a little kid, I would steal her shit and just listen to it.
I gotta ask this question: where are all these cool moms coming from teaching their kids metal? Because Josh was on my show talking about how his mom showed him metal, and I'm jealous because my mom was not into any of this stuff. Like,
real quick, speaking of Josh, how is he?
He's good, man. We're getting ready, I'm sure you've seen online, we're getting ready to do a Devil Inside reunion. He's good, brother. Yeah. He's doing his bass thing. He's back to slapping the bass.
That's great. He's the weirdest kid I've ever met in my life, but he is something special.
Yeah, he is, for sure. So my next question for you is, like I said, this podcast is about learning about the musical journey. Tell me how it started for little Brandon Cooper. How did it start for you? Sounds like mom's Metallica's tape collection kind of started some things for you.
Yeah, it was that, but I will never forget, me and her were driving to my grandmother's house, and you have to take this funny road. It's like all woods and stuff, and there's like a college like in the woods. It's all weird. And she put this other tape in, and it was Stone Temple Pilots. And Interstate Love Song came on, and I made her put it on repeat, and it was just all downhill from there, or uphill, whichever way you want to look at it.
You said downhill and then uphill. That's messed up.
Yeah, that's like the moment in time where I wanted to play music and I wanted to learn instruments, and yeah, that's it.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Why guitar? Why does guitar seem to fit who you are, man?
Well, believe it or not, drums was my first interest and all that. So when I was in elementary school, I obviously did band and stuff, and instead of the drums, you get like the little practice drum head, and then when you played like your school concerts, then you get to play like a snare drum or something, and
yeah,
I would always just screw off and just hit it constantly. And then I asked for a drum kit later on, and they were like, no.
Oh, God.
So and then I met a friend of mine in 8th grade, my friend Ron, and he introduced me to guitar, and then I have been hooked ever since.
Wow. That's pretty straightforward, because the same thing, it seems like everybody started out with something different, and then you transition to what you really are, because I've said before, I tried starting out as a bass player and sucked. So, and then somehow just fell into the position of being a vocalist and stuff like that. So, and to be honest with you, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Absolutely. I agree.
So my next question for you, man, is what bands inspired, I would have to say, like, inspired your opinion on what music could be? Because as long as I've known you, you've always had an evolving sound. Your sound, you can do just about anything, man. Like, I just saw like your Instagram where you're doing a country song. You know what I'm saying? So not only are you playing like heavy aggressive music, you can play hardcore music, you can do, real heavy stuff, but then you can bust out like R&B songs I've heard before, and country music. So what is it about music that you love so much that it changes? You can do so many different things instead of just being pigeonholed into one style.
I think that has to do with a lot of me loving all different kinds of music. I think that's number one, being eclectic in what you listen to. I know people who are just strictly all about metal and this and that, and which is great and all, but you're missing out on so many other things. And when I listen to music, I don't just listen to it. I feel it, no matter if I like the song, band or not. I always have to feel it. And like with this country song, it was just, I was listening to some country singer and I just started messing around with some chords and I was like, I'm going to just write a country song. And then like,
yeah.
Oh, like the R&B song I did. I actually wrote that when I found out Juice WRLD died. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, man. It's a good song, man. And the one thing that's like amazing is, as long as I've known you, you've been into the music production side. And when I met you originally, you were good. And now I think you're in that part where you're great right now. You've got some things that really work for you. And the fact that you can do so many different styles is so cool. So in talking about that, how did you get into the music production side, the recording and engineering side? Because that's something else that's like amazing. Not only are you a great songwriter on guitar, you also can produce really well, and you've got some of the best performances out of me before, you know what I'm saying, producer wise. So
I appreciate that.
How did you get into that?
So when I first started at my job, I met this guy who works the night shift, and I guess some of the other guys at work were telling him that I'm a musician, and we basically share that same passion. Yep. So he gave me his phone number, and we talked a little bit here and there, and he invited me to his house, and he was just like, did you ever think about like recording music? And I was like, I've always thought about it, but I never really cared for it that much. I'd rather just play it. And then he gave me a copy of Studio One to DAW, and he gave me a couple plugins and stuff, and he told me, go get like a cheap interface and a cheap pair of monitors, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, man. Like I said, when I first met you, you were good. Now I think you're in that position of great because, like I said, the multifacetedness of what you're able to do, which is really, really fucking cool. So, and speaking of your music production, what are some bands you would like to work with? I mean, you can go fantasy and say, hey, I'd like to record this band, or you can talk about maybe some artist in the area for you that you'd like to help out, find that sound.
I mean, it's definitely fantasy, but obviously, like a band like Fit for an Autopsy. Justin Bieber.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, a lot of people talk shit about the Biebs. About the
Biebs, I'm on a nickname basis. The Biebs.
If you listen to some of that stuff, it is so catchy, and it's got some wicked feels to it.
Okay, all right. No, hey, I can't be mad at that. You're bringing some real shit to it, and you're talking about it. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Is there any other artists you would like to work with, or maybe some artists in the area that you're like, yo, get at me?
In the area?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I don't really know too many, like, locals. There's a few that I know, like Mark from Seconds from Disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very limited few.
Yeah.
I think it would be geared more towards fantasy bands.
Yeah.
I would love to work with Tommy Beck and Bad Wolves.
Nothing wrong with that. I was just talking about him the other day, and we're talking about some bands that some were good, some weren't that great, and the reasons why they weren't that great. So in more talking about your music production side, you have an amazing relationship with a good friend of ours, Aaron, more a good friend of yours. Talk about how that relationship developed, because Aaron in himself is an amazing fucking producer, and the guy is super good, and he's done a lot of records a lot of people don't even realize he's on. Yeah.
So that all started after our old band, Years of Vengeance, I wanted to release music on my own, and I was cleaning my apartment, and I had YouTube on my computer, and it was just on autoplay, just playing random stuff. And I heard this like heavy beat down instrumental, and I was like, God damn! I was like windmilling in my living room, like with the vacuum cleaner,
mosh pit.
And I was funny about like who I was going to have do my music, because I wasn't going to do it by myself. I wanted it to have like great quality and stuff. And I hit him up on a whim, and it was something I wouldn't have really done, but something told me, like, work with him. And I did, and we did 2 songs, Charlotte and Insurgents. And literally it's been one of the best relationships, working on my stuff. And I went down there, and he taught me how to mix. And I've been applying all of that, every day when I'm sitting in front of this computer writing or trying to learn new things. And he's just a great dude all around.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I've had some interaction with him as of recently, and hope to have him on my show real soon, man. He's a good guy and absolutely talented dude. And I think that, and speaking of songs you've done with him, let's talk about one of those songs, man. Let's talk about Charlotte, man. And whatever you're comfortable talking about with what came with Charlotte, because to be honest with you, it came from a phone conversation between me and you.
I do remember.
We started rolling on some ideas. So talk about as much as you want to about Charlotte and the writing process.